it feels like there is this attack on veterans benefits. And let me explain this, and then I'm going to kick it back to you. And so we see a declining population of veterans. Look at that corner to corner right there. So veterans are dying, right? And it's this population shift of the boomer era to the Gen X era, then to the millennial era. And so the Vietnam era, they're getting old. They're dying. You know, World War II, Korea, they're basically gone. Vietnam's up next. And so that 18 million number you mentioned is going down. However, the number of veterans who are service connected is going up. That is a problem. When you look at longevity of the VA disability system, and every single year you have this FY budget and it keeps growing by the hundreds of billions of dollars, by the way. We're not talking a couple million. We're talking, I think it was 384 billion, 390 billion-ish. You know, this next FY, we're going to hit 400 billion. And there's not a question about it. What's the longevity of that? And if I'm the VA, and this is the last thing I'll say, and I'll pass it to you. If I'm the VA, I still have to accomplish my mission, right? Which is caregivers, that big number, 45, 50 million that you had mentioned. I still need to take care of veterans and their families, but I also have to ensure this process we have has some kind of longevity. So how do I do that? In my opinion, I think we will see more veteran service connected, although we have a declining population. However, I think those mental health ratings at 50, 70 are really going to turn into 10s and 30s, you know, and I would argue that GERD is the perfect example, where GERD, the criteria was made so strict, although there are other symptoms of GERD, it was made so strict and it really says, hey, we're going to take care of veterans at a lower percentage rate. That's my opinion. There's so much to dive into here. I'm going to start with that and just pass it to you.
You know, so one, I disagree on the mental health side. So there's that one. I think that they're going to be fine with your mental health issues. We'll take care of you there. Everything else, we're just going to get you other kinds of treatment, and you can move on your way. I think that it feels like there is a shift to the VA is going to be a care provider, not a disability payment maker. So sure, come through the doors at the VA healthcare center, go to your community care, get treatment. We'll cover you for that. But these higher ratings, like you said, are going to be few and far between. There still will be some in which you could do that, sure. But I think that the whole, right, GERD was the great example. GERD, and I just did a video on that not too long ago. And as a side note for everybody watching, if you have an intent to file that was prior to, I think it was March, so basically about 10 months ago or so, check the date on that, because you could still file for GERD on the old rating schedule because you have your intent to file in prior to that change. So that's just an important side note. So GERD used to have a hole like this that you could get a rating in there and be kind of all over the board as far as your signs and symptoms and severity was concerned. And what they did is they tightened up that hole into this little itty bitty, hey, we're still helping people with GERD, but now the criteria is a pinhole. So it's shifted, just to use an easy example for folks, from when you think of GERD, at least when I would think of GERD, I would think of just like extreme heartburn, you know, regurgitation, maybe a little bit of vomit. Severe cases could have blood in your stool, blood in the vomit. You have pain in your sternum or shooting down your arm, like little mini heart attacks, right? So that all went away, and now it's just difficulty swallowing due to esophageal stricture. And maybe you're getting treatments on that at various levels. And for the most part, nobody's going to even qualify for that. And by the way, Clay, not only did they shift GERD to esophageal stricture, they also took hiatal hernia and did the same. So that doesn't even exist anymore. So we're seeing all of these little things, like you said, slowly chipping away. And one by itself, I agree, is not the end of the world. It's kind of, well, that's irritating. Tinnitus would be a good example. People were hanging secondary conditions on tinnitus to go from 10% for tinnitus to maybe a combined 40% or 50%, hanging a couple other conditions on there if they were able to. And tinnitus is going away as well. And the target date is April of this year, 2025. It's been in process since 2022. The one thing that I want folks to understand, and I'm going to kick it back to you, Clay, is this is coming from everywhere. It's every single administration does something. It's not this is bipartisan in nature, okay, but both good and bad, right? There's good things that happen for veterans under both. There's bad things that happen for veterans under both. The rating schedule changes have been happening for the past 8 years or so. I mean, maybe a little bit longer than that, changing and totally revamping the rating schedules. And I'll tell you that whoever it is, it could be a congressional member or it could be the president, is not sitting there going, well, let me see that rating schedule change. Yeah. Because I'm going to put on my medical hat here and I'm going to disagree with all these studies and we need to get, no, nobody's doing that. They're relying on the people that they put in office or into their posts, if they're appointed or whatever, to do their job. And part of their job, according to all the law, is to update the rating schedules as things change. This is just what it is, right? But there is there's some smoke on the horizon, if you will. And I'm going to kick it back to you, Clay, so we could dive a little deeper.
Yeah, so I